Don't lay a finger on my wife. I won't let you touch her. I was kicked from behind by the department head, Michael, and fell flat on my face. At first, I didn't understand what had happened. Michael is supposed to be single. Still, I wonder what's going on in his head, claiming Hannah is his wife. Hannah gave him, who presumptuously treated her as his wife, a disgusted look. If we don't stop his emotional runaway, the worst could happen.
Why would I be your wife? I'm already married. Hannah is the daughter of Chairman Morgan, and she's my wife. But the last name is...
Reluctantly, I began to explain to him in detail. My name is Tom Taylor. I'm a 42-year-old who works in the sales department of a multinational trading company. My main job is to import and export various goods, and our sales department can be considered the flagship of the company. Being able to speak foreign languages was a must for getting the job since we deal a lot with overseas transactions. I'm especially grateful to my parents for this. My father is American, and my mother is Japanese. My father, who worked for a global trading company like I do now, moved us around various countries since I was young. That's why I can speak English, French, Spanish, and Japanese. I returned to the US when I was in the first year of high school and spent 3 years getting accustomed to the American culture and customs. When it was time to go to college, I had many options but chose to attend a renowned state university in the US. Having spent much time abroad, I wanted to cherish my roots even more. I obtained US citizenship when I was 20. After graduating, wanting to work in a broader world, I joined a multinational trading company. I finally landed a job in sales, making the world my workplace. Time flies, and it has been about 20 years since then. Before I knew it, I had passed the age of 40. I often joke, shoot, I forgot to get married, which always gets a laugh. Don't forget the important things. It's not too late to start looking for someone to marry. Marriage is wonderful. You should experience the joy of having a family soon. Then, Hannah Morgan joined our sales team. She had been working in a different field and had recently switched to our company. She has a bright smile and is quite beautiful without being pretentious. Her voice was also surprisingly charming, and I often found myself enchanted by it. I was not the only one drawn to her charms. Sometimes, I would ask what her previous job was, but she would lightly deflect the question. Judging that it might be a sensitive issue, I didn't ask any further. As colleagues in the same department, we had many opportunities to work together. For me, who was attracted to her, seeing her every day at the company felt like a reward. Honestly, when we walk together, we definitely turn heads. I have mixed race features, and I'm 6'2" feet tall. Hannah is also tall, about 5'7", and we look well matched when we walk side by side. Furthermore, with her almond-shaped eyes, she looks like she could be a model in Paris. It doesn't feel bad at all when people say we look great together. She seemed to feel the same way. At the time, I was 40 and she was 28. Both of us, despite not looking the part, were tentatively exploring our feelings. Then, a major personnel change occurred, and Michael became the head of the sales department. He was 53, single. Before him, I had been the oldest and single guy in our department, but now there was someone older. It's hard to say in a word whether he was competent or not. He has an impressive education, having graduated from Stanford University's doctoral program. However, whether he had climbed the ranks smoothly was questionable. Being 53 and just becoming a sales manager is not exactly a rapid promotion. We thought there might have been some issues, and tried to avoid him outside of necessary work interactions. Gradually, the nature of the discomfort we vaguely felt became clear. He had what you might call a geeky personality. The reason he had remained single until 53 was probably due to his busy schedule following his favorite characters. To him, fictional women seemed to be more of romantic interests than real-life women. This was a world completely foreign to me, but Hannah showed some understanding.
Some people are like that, but I don't think it's right to view it as abnormal. Everyone has their hobbies and ways of living.
Her understanding, unfortunately, backfired. Michael began to blatantly interfere with Hannah.
You really get it, Hannah. No one else here understands me. Well, I'm not that familiar with it either, but anime and such are famous aspects of Japanese culture, and that's wonderful. Yes, exactly. It's Japanese culture. Hannah, it feels great when you support me with your cute voice.
She probably realized her mistake. She gave a forced smile, trying to get through the awkward situation. However, he didn't think she was bothered at all. He kept approaching her for trivial tasks.
Hannah, could you read this document out loud for me? I think I'll understand it better hearing it in your cute voice.
The rest of us in the sales department felt this couldn't continue. We had to protect her somehow. Whenever he tried to approach her, we'd subtly get in the way. Then suddenly, I was assigned to work overseas in Singapore for 3 years. Everyone in the department was furious, suspecting Michael's hand in it. But as a company employee, I had to accept the personnel decision. Being separated from her for 3 years was the hardest part. That was when I first realized how seriously I cared for her. She cheered me up with her bright spirit.
It's just a 19-hour flight. We can video call now so we can see each other anytime. Hannah, not 3 years. Just hold on for 2. I'll make a big impact and come back here soon. Okay, I'll wait. And Tom, don't you dare cheat.
In the end, the transfer became a catalyst for us to express our feelings to each other. I made sure she wouldn't feel lonely and prepared thoroughly before departing for Singapore. Singapore is a vibrant country with a mix of many cultures. Living alone as a man, I don't really feel any inconvenience. Certainly, the temperature here is higher than in America, but those who like summer would enjoy it. Eager to return as soon as possible, I devote myself passionately to work. Whenever I can get Monday off in addition to the weekend, I hop on a plane to America to spend time with Hannah. She also uses her vacation days to come to Singapore. When she visits, we don't just stay in Singapore. We travel together to countries like the Philippines, Malaysia, and India. My stint in Singapore definitely deepened our bond. You never know what will trigger significant changes in life. Thus, I kept delivering results one after another at the Singapore branch. Moreover, all my deals involved the US branch. This was all to ensure that I wouldn't be transferred to another country's branch in the next personnel change. 2 years passed, and I was able to return to the US branch 1 year earlier than planned. Hannah told me that not only she but also the other sales staff were looking forward to my return. However, she said nothing in particular about what Michael thought. My modest hope that he might have been transferred to a different department during these 2 years was dashed. This is how I came to meet Michael again after 2 years. When I landed at the airport and stepped off the plane, I saw Hannah waving from beyond the gate. As I approached with my luggage, she came up with a bright smile and hugged me.
Welcome back, Tom. Are you heading straight to the office from here? I'd like to report back today. I can take it easy for the next few days since I'll have some days off.
We held hands as we left the airport and got into a taxi. The scenery outside the window was all too familiar. Although I had returned several times during my assignment, I had always been out sightseeing with Hannah, so I was somewhat out of touch with the changes in New York. Holding her hand tightly, I asked about a concern that had been on my mind.
Is Michael still the same? Has his attitude improved at all? Not at all. I didn't talk about it much because I didn't want to worry you while you were in Singapore, but he hasn't changed a bit. Now that I'm back, I won't let him pull any strange stunts anymore. I'm sorry you had to endure so much.
Hannah rested her head on my shoulder, acting affectionately. I was happy and gently held her waist. As we were doing so, the taxi pulled up in front of the company. After paying the fare, we entered the building together. We took the elevator to the sales department on the 5th floor. As we got off the elevator, the familiar floor of the sales department came into view.
Tom, you're finally back. Welcome back, Tom. We've been waiting for you.
Greeted with smiles by my colleagues, I smiled back. Suddenly, I was kicked in the back and fell face down.
Don't touch my wife. I won't let you lay a finger on her.
It was Michael who had kicked me from behind. At first, I didn't understand what had happened. He was supposed to be single. Still, I wondered what was going on in his head, claiming Hannah as his wife.
Tom, are you okay? Michael, what are you doing? It's because he's getting too familiar with my wife.
I got up on my hands and reassured Hannah, I'm okay. Hannah gave Michael, who presumptuously treated her as his wife, a disgusted look. If we don't stop his emotional runaway, the worst could happen. Now that I was back, it was clear something had to be settled. Determined, Hannah confronted Michael with the truth.
Why would I be your wife, Michael? I'm already married.
It must have been a shocking revelation for Michael. Sure enough, his voice cracked as he responded.
What? Married? What kind of joke is that? Hannah is my wife.
That's when I delivered another staggering fact.
Hannah is the daughter of Chairman Morgan, and she is my wife. But her last name is...
Reluctantly, I started to explain the situation to Michael in more detail. Indeed, my surname is Taylor, and Hannah's maiden name was Morgan. However, she uses her maiden name at work because it's more convenient for professional purposes. On our marriage certificate, she is registered as Hannah Taylor. She then said, "Here's the proof," and pulled out her driver's license from her bag. Next to her photo on the license, it read Hannah Taylor. Michael's eyes widened, his face a picture of disbelief.
When on earth did you get married? I had no idea. Well, of course, you didn't know. It was a secret. Plus, right after we got married, I was transferred to Singapore. We talked about going together, but Hannah stayed in the US because she was worried about her father.
Our decision to marry came after my transfer to Singapore was confirmed. The moment we knew we would have to live apart, our feelings solidified. That was when I first learned that Hannah was the daughter of our company's chairman, Mr. Morgan. One might assume that the chairman of a multinational company would be a foreigner, but I had heard that our company's chairman was American. Apparently, the founders were a duo, one American and one Japanese, and the American founder was Chairman Morgan's father. Because of such a background, Hannah was raised without any financial troubles. Her mother passed away when Hannah was young, and her father, Chairman George Morgan, raised her with great care. Hannah, having deep interactions with international figures, grew to love the country and culture of her American roots. Since my parents lived abroad, the only people present at our first family meeting were me, Hannah, and George. I was relieved that he was pleased with our marriage. Apparently, George had suspected something about our relationship and had conducted a background check on me a little while ago. After the investigation confirmed my good reputation at work and my sincere approach to life, he felt comfortable entrusting his daughter to me. Hearing this, I was merely overwhelmed. We decided not to have a wedding ceremony. Hannah wanted to keep her identity as the chairman's daughter hidden at work and continue her job as before. We informed only a few close friends and asked them not to disclose it. She continued to use the Morgan surname and remained in the same sales department as me. Some people say that spouses should work in different departments, but we had been working together even before marriage, and it had helped us excel. We wanted to keep working together as a team. Thus, our married life began with me in Singapore and Hannah in America, living separately. However, it didn't feel like we were that far apart. We kept a video chat app open all the time while at home. Even if we didn't have anything particular to say, we streamed our living spaces to each other. Just seeing each other's relaxed forms and hearing each other's voices with the real ambient sounds was comforting. There was no need to always have something to talk about. Just sharing the present moment was important and brought us happiness. Listening to the explanation, Michael began to tremble.
It can't be. My Hannah belonging to another man? I don't want to believe it. I've known Hannah much longer than you have. What are you talking about? You only came to the sales department after Hannah had already transferred here. So we have known each other longer. No, you don't know anything. I have known Hannah since before she started working here, from her previous job.
She gasped and cut off her words with an "oh." Indeed, she was always reluctant to talk about what she did before joining our company. Initially, I was curious, but eventually, it didn't matter much to me anymore.
Hannah used to be the voice of Cutie Pink and the Pretty Squad Cuties for the longest time. I was a member of her fan club and always made sure to get the front row seats at the voice actor events.
I was taken aback and could only gape in surprise. I never imagined that Hannah had been a voice actress. Indeed, she has a very appealing voice that instantly makes people feel warmly towards her. Voice acting has become a glamorous profession nowadays, almost as popular as idols or celebrities. A female colleague exclaimed joyfully.
Hannah was Cutie Pink. My daughter was a huge fan. She even has the doll. I did wonder why the show ended so abruptly. When I decided to quit, there was talk of finding a replacement, but the opposition was so fierce that it was called off. I even received comments saying it was better to end the show than to change a voice. I get it. For fans who are truly in love with their two-dimensional heroines, it's like having a different person altogether.
I had heard that there are men who support female characters in 2 dimensions and sometimes refer to these characters as wives. I have no intention of criticizing that. People have different ways of thinking, and as long as they don't bother anyone else with their lifestyle, there's no problem. But it was a different story when such an individual was causing actual trouble around them.
When Hannah stepped down due to rage, I was devastated. I wondered what I would live for. But then to meet her by chance at work, if that's not fate, what is?
This revelation made Michael's over-the-top behavior somewhat understandable. He was feeling sad because his favorite voice actor had retired, but then he was assigned to a department where that very idol worked. Even someone other than Michael would feel it was fate. Hannah looked embarrassed and looked down.
I never meant to hide it. I just didn't want to be celebrated just for fun. When I switched jobs, my father told me to face my new job with resolve. So I left my past behind. Were you working under your real name? Of course, I was using a stage name, but my voice is distinctive, and Michael recognized me immediately. He attended every event and remembered me from the autograph sessions and photo shoots.
It turns out she was quite the star. However, new talent constantly enters the voice acting industry. Even when participating in auditions, opportunities for newcomers with young and charming voices have increased. Thinking it was probably time for a change, Hannah consulted with her father and decided to start a second career at our company.
Hannah, it's not too late. Break up with that frivolous man and marry me. Then you be my Cutie Pink forever. Stop saying creepy things, please.
She turned pale and clung to me. I firmly supported her. It seems a major problem had arisen in the sales department, as reported by someone from another department to the boss. Chairman Morgan entered the room.
What's all this commotion? I understand today is Tom's first day back and some excitement is expected, but isn't this a bit much? Mr. Morgan, I'm terribly sorry. I've just discovered that Hannah is your daughter. Just because you now know Hannah is my daughter, does that change your position in any way, Michael? I've heard all about you from her.
Upon hearing those words, Michael seemed to have made a big misunderstanding. He apparently thought that Hannah had feelings for him and had been reporting his excellence to George.
Mr. Morgan, I've always loved Hannah, even from her voice acting days. I want to continue walking with her in life. Please accept our relationship." "What are you talking about, young man? Hannah has been married to Tom for 2 years now. She is troubled by your actions. If you can't adjust your behavior, you will have to leave this company."
Hannah, clinging to me, seized the moment to speak out.
"Considering how long you've supported me during my voice acting career, I've been patient. But I can't stand it anymore. I'm Tom's wife, not your wife. I can't stand even breathing the same air as you." "Hannah, don't say such things. To think I love you this much, what a cruel thing to say. You're being deceived by Tom. It's not true love if you can stay apart for 2 years so easily." "Dad, please do something. I can't bear to work at a company with him."
George looked at Michael intently before speaking quietly.
"Michael, you'll have to leave. Your obsession with my daughter is abnormal. To prevent the worst case scenario,
It's necessary to separate you and Hannah."
"No, I refuse to be separated from Hannah."
I felt the pathological nature of his obsession with Hannah. George seemed to feel the same, and decided to hold off on firing Michael. In a situation that truly embodied the phrase "keep your friends close and your enemies closer," George chose to allow Michael stay at the company while keeping him at a distance from Hannah. Michael was demoted from sales manager to general affairs manager. Furthermore, the company arranged for him to receive counseling through an affiliated institution. Initially, Michael resisted and complained, but eventually, he began to quietly attend counseling sessions. To inform all employees that Hannah and I were married, George decided to host a grand wedding reception. There, George and I finally had the chance to see Hannah in her wedding dress. Tall and stunning, she looked like a model. At the reception, we were blessed with many well wishes from the employees, and George made a surprising announcement. He declared that I would be appointed as the next CEO during the upcoming personnel changes. I knew about this in advance but was anxious about the other employees' reactions. When the announcement was made, the room erupted in applause. Moved by emotion, I stood up and gave a greeting. Hannah, beside me, clapped her hands happily. I renewed my resolve to work hard, especially for her sake. Now widely known as George's daughter, Hannah decided to take a break from the company. Determined to have children while still at a safe age, she decided to focus on fertility treatments. With this in mind, we wanted to change our environment and decided to relocate to Australia. Although my days were busy traveling the world as CEO, I made sure to cherish the moments spent just with Hannah. Perhaps due to favorable circumstances, Hannah safely gave birth to a daughter. We named her Amanda. As her parent, I may be biased, but she is a charming child and will likely grow up to be beautiful. George, now our doting grandfather, frequently visited our home in Australia. Hannah seemed happy with her relaxed lifestyle. As for Michael, who had troubled Hannah, it seemed the counseling had worked, as his obsession with Hannah diminished. However, losing his star was a significant sadness that led him to despair. He became reckless as his fantasies about Hannah were denied. Unable to truly love a real-life woman, and wanting to fully enjoy the world of anime, he quit his job. Consequently, he stopped going to counseling, and began to revert back to his old lifestyle. Around that time, a character in his favorite anime, voiced by someone with a voice similar to Hannah's, became popular. Michael gradually became obsessed with the characters and their voice actors. With each event, he participated in the front row, spending a substantial amount of money. This was similar to his behavior with Hannah, but with a twist. The voice actress, who had a voice similar to Hannah's, was not particularly attractive. At the event, after seeing her actual face and style, Michael became completely despondent. He began to withdraw into his home, and his savings started to dwindle. He then shifted his interest to a popular mobile game featuring beautiful characters. To fully enjoy the game, Michael had to spend a significant amount of money, and he became completely addicted. Due to the expenses, he accumulated debts, sold his condominium, and moved into a small apartment. What is important varies from person to person. Michael's choice to spend on virtual characters was his own. However, as he spent all his waking hours playing and participating in various events, no amount of money seemed enough. His quest to perfect his avatar led him into a bottomless pit of spending. Michael was perhaps happiest living in a fantasy world of dreams and illusions. Each time Michael's story comes up, I find myself pondering the nature of human happiness. Time flies, and soon Amanda will be 3 years old. Day by day, she grows more adorable and is the talk of the neighborhood for her beauty. Some celebrities have even suggested she enter the show business world. However, having faced many challenges herself, Hannah is hesitant to involve Amanda in such a world. I share the same opinion and concluded with Amanda that it's best to wait until her intentions become clear. Lately, Hannah has been feeling the urge to return to work. She was indeed vibrant during her time in the sales department. Our company has a daycare, which allows mothers with young children to work energetically. Hannah wanted to return to work, and I was happy to support her decision. When she was considering resuming her career, we debated whether to hide the fact that she was the CEO's wife. Given Michael's past behavior, we eventually decided to disclose it and arranged for her to work in our Australian branch. Hannah thrived in her role and seemed truly happy. Seeing the joyful smiles of my wife and daughter has become my greatest joy and purpose in life. The job of a CEO is tough, but as I lead a fulfilling life, I consider myself the happiest person in the world.